And this is what Micah had to say about this Cowboys team compared to his previous teams in Dallas.
Kofi?
It feels completely different. I feel like there's a complete 360 turnaround. I think this year, man, coming in the camp after camp, we was like, man, we know we're capable of we all know how each other play. We all know what each other like. It's looking dangerous right now. I can't even lie to you.
Okay, first of all, I need Micah to get a compass and understand what 360 means, because then they'd be staring right back at where they were.
I don't need my pass rushers to know nothing about no degrees. Where is the quarterback? Get him. Simple.
Marcus, let's start with you, my beloved former Cowboy. This is special. I mean, if I were to say right now, look, Mahomes, the best player in football is Micah Parsons. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yes. It is. The impact he's making on the game, G. One trait you have to be in that conversation, and we used to talk about Aaron Donald in this way, and we probably will at the end of the year, it has the impact the rest of the 10. And the fact that Micah Parsons is out there on the field, everybody's job becomes easier. That's one of the traits of being the best player. The other trait is Micah Parsons wins 57% of his pass rushes. The league is at 17.
Right.
Think about that for a second. Now, I'm one to believe that T.J. Watt is one of the best pure pass rushers. Like, lying down, put your hand in the dirt. He's going to get to the quarterback from that position more than anybody. But the numbers don't say that. It says that every time Micah Parsons lies down with his hand in the dirt, he's going to get there more than anybody in the league. Dan Quinn uses him in a phenomenal way.
Absolutely.
He creates mismatches. And look, the other thing is this, too. He plays harder than everybody.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Motor.
The freakish athletic ability coupled with a coach that's going to put you in great positions and situations to impact games, and you go harder than everybody else. Now, I know it's not that simple. People don't think about it in that regard, but I've watched Lawrence Taylor play. He looked like he was moving faster than everybody else on the field.
That's right.
These two dudes are very similar, and he really does have a chance to be league MVP.
A reminder that he was an off-the-ball linebacker in college, and the Cowboys traded back in the draft to get him.
Yeah.
They moved back and got him. You're an offensive lineman. What are we doing with Micah Parsons?
Not sleeping for a week, I'll tell you that. But you can't do anything with him because you try to game plan him in a specific position, he's not going to be there. That's the difference between he and every other pass rusher. You can't put a tight end on him because he may kick in and he'll be over your guard or over your center, over your right. So you don't ever know where he's going to line up. So you can't game plan for him. You ultimately have to go one-on-one with him. 5 of your offensive linemen at some point are going to face him, and you got a weak link. Everybody in the NFL's got a weak link on the offensive line, and it's I want to sign up for that block. Listen, don't nobody want to sign up for that block, right? Everybody like, hey, go, slide down, kick down, double me. You can't double everybody, and so that's the problem with him. He creates such havoc because there is no game plan, because Dan Quinn is using him that way where he can walk around, do it how he wants to do it, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, and you can double team him and he can beat that too.
Well,
I saw in week
fair.
1, he destroyed the double team and led to a sack for someone else. So there really is no answer. The 57%, some of those wins are against 2 guys too.
Yeah. Ooh.
So here's what I want to say. When it comes to Micah Parsons being a brilliant player on the defensive side of the ball, that's not a surprise. Here's what's surprising, Kmart, about the Cowboys. The much maligned Mike McCarthy is running an offensive show that is so extraordinarily well organized and well put together that even someone like me, I never played it, I never coached it, and I'm watching it, and they're getting that play in so fast, and they're getting out of the huddle so fast. Mike McCarthy is putting it back in everyone's face, right, at least to this point, who questioned him taking over the play calling.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We didn't know what it would look like.
That's what I mean.
The offense, they were putting up points, scoring at will at one point, and you thought, okay, with Kellen Moore and Dak, this makes sense. And all of a sudden, Mike McCarthy says, you know what? We don't want to do all that. I'm going to take over. When we looked at Mike McCarthy throughout the last 2 seasons and said, you know, clock management is an issue for them. Guys don't seem to know what they're supposed to be doing in end-of-game situations. Does Mike McCarthy now want to take on an even bigger responsibility and add more to his plate? And guess what? He said yes, and so far, the Cowboys look good. Defense we know is going to be good. We knew Mike would be outstanding, as Dominique always says. But it was going to be this offense, and how would Dak look, and how would these pieces come together? Would they put up points? Would they just run the ball, and would Dak be too afraid to make mistakes?
Yeah.
It hasn't looked like that to this point, and that's what you love, because that's the main question with this team.
Jeff, you left me solo and went to coach when I was fighting.
He was
By himself.
Because it was such a negative connotation around Mike McCarthy taking over play calling.
Right.
And when he came out and said, we're going to run the ball, you should have saw people. They lost their mind. You can't win in the league running the damn football and doing all of that. But not just you, Foxy, but I think the idea of what Kellen Moore was doing blinded people so much to situational football.
That's right.
And that's what Mike McCarthy was talking about. When we need to run it and when we have to run it, we will. But you got to drop back. It was 38 passes and 35 runs in this game against the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And for as much as the Jets struggle offensively, I'm sorry, G, that defense still had to be respected, no matter how good your defense was playing.
Yeah.
And what Mike McCarthy has done is situational football and understand that, all right, this is the time for me to hand it off. My offensive line is intact. We can be physical. I'm going to give you an example, because this is what I was talking about with Kellen Moore when everybody was like, well, they the #1 scoring offense in the league and they doing all of this. Kellen Moore last week with the Los Angeles Chargers in overtime threw 3 deep balls.
Yeah.
3 of them in a row. Got 0 yards, 3 plays, and a punt. Now, look, what people gonna say is Justin Herbert, go out there and make a play. Here they go. Right here, the Tennessee Titans, man. The Titans barely could beat the Saints. The Chargers are supposed to be the dog. Look at this ball. Yeah. Right? The Tennessee Titans come right back the next possession. Get the ball, run, pass, pass, field goal range, win the game.
Yeah.
That was Kellen Moore's problem in Dallas. It had nothing to do with his inability to call plays. The dude can call plays. He is a bad situational offensive coach. And that's what drove me crazy last year with the Cowboys. And a lot of times your quarterback gonna get the brunt. It's about to happen to Justin Herbert. Trust me, give it time. If Justin Herbert is going to be ass, I'm going to drop back every time we get in a critical situation.
You get to make the point you made yesterday, though, of who this reminds you of, the guy that you played with for a dozen years in Indianapolis.
And I actually played for Mike McCarthy, right? And I will say this, the one position change when you take over that offensive coordinator from the head coach is you now have control. People think like the head coach is making every decision, but that's not the case, right? Like as that offensive coordinator is calling those plays, you're trusting all the situational football that they've studied for the week, right? Mike McCarthy is putting the hands of this offense in Dak Prescott's hand. He's saying, I'm going to call plays fast. You're going to get to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have 20-plus seconds to evaluate the situation, put our offense in the best position. And what you've done now is you've allowed Dak Prescott confidence at the line of scrimmage. It's no longer a hurry. It's no longer, maybe the best check is a run. Maybe the best check is a check down. And he'll say those things in his earpiece. Hey, consider this, consider those things. But the advantage that Mike McCarthy is giving Dak Prescott is that I'm going to give you time at the line of scrimmage to adapt our offense and be the best.
And who else did that? Who did you put?
Peyton Manning. That's all we did. Get there in a hurry, get lined up, be ready to play. The defense will tip its hand at some point, whether that's in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. But we're going to take advantage, and they're going to allow Dak to do those things. And to your point, you saw it in week 1 against the Giants with Mike McCarthy. It's pouring down rain. They're up 16 because they've had all this.
Blow this.
Why am I going to screw this up? Play within yourself.
These fools, the Colts, they have 4 plays on offense, maybe 5.
That's right.
Maybe 5.
You could never be right.
We studied the hell out of all those plays. And the thing that we didn't realize, the most success we had was when we realized that they were looking at all the things that we were doing.
That's right.
And it's hard to keep 11 guys from tipping you off. So you get up to the line of scrimmage. Peyton got 30 seconds to hard count you, to motion, do all this other stuff. Eventually, one of us dummies is going to show our hands, and then Peyton is checking to them stupid double ends or them go routes or them cumebacks, and they get in the first down.
They're called indie routes.
Sound like a damn airline person. Sound like an airline person in the airport. Omaha. Omaha. I'm not going to Omaha. I'm going
As it turns out, you are going to Omaha. You just don't know.
Whether you like it or not.
That's where it begins. I didn't even get to my favorite thing, but we will. Micah Parsons has another trick up his sleeve, and it is something you can be looking forward to as the season goes on. We will get you to that. There is a former football player, Kirk, Kyle Rudolph, excuse me, is the name I'm looking for, the former Vikings tight end, Kyle Rudolph.
Hang in there, G.
Who said...
He's stressed.
Hang in there, big
He's already maxed. He's already maxed out. 2 weeks in, he's maxed out.
That literally never happens.
This man is the best host ever.
Kyle Rudolph says Minnesota should be taking calls about his former quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
if you're the New York Jets, you pick up the phone, you call the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's worth the conversation. Kirk certainly is a guy, as you look across the NFL from a starting quarterback standpoint, that would give you a great chance to go win enough games to get in the playoffs and play football in January.
Yes! That's what I've been saying for a week now. Why is Kmart shaking her head at me?
Well, number one, Kmart was the one who brought up Kirk Cousins when a certain swagoo was mentioning Taylor Heineke and Jacoby Brissett. That was me. But I also then checked in. The Jets haven't called the Vikings. As of last week, they haven't reached out about Kirk Cousins. And
It is a starter.
It's over 2 weeks.
Fair. But think about where the Jets are, what their mindset has been from the beginning. They were not looking at any other veteran guys. It was Aaron Rodgers or bust. Now they have Zach Wilson. You mentioned guys like Jacoby Brissett and Taylor Heineke. They don't know what they have in Zach Wilson yet. He's on the whether you believe in Zach Wilson or not, he's on the roster still for a reason. They believe in the talent. And when we've seen Zach Wilson be protected, he's been efficient. Like, let's not act like he's a scrub.
Listen, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We talk about Zach Wilson the way you talk about like a 5-year-old playing basketball. Like, oh, look, the shot went in. Like it's a stunner. When he makes one good play, you're like, oh, look at that, he completed a pass.
It's true.
When there's no one near him, he somehow manages to be we have to stop pretending that we are where we are not.
Keep in mind, I think because fans are in panic mode, it's like, do something.
Right.
But we have talked about Kirk Cousins for a long time. Only now when it's like the Jets seem to have nothing are people saying, well, Kirk Cousins can win you a Super Bowl. We were literally having conversations last season about Kirk Cousins no one thinking Kirk Cousins is that great.
He isn't that great.
But if you're look at where we're at. Like, the Jets don't have any great options, and Kirk Cousins literally has a no trade clause.
Right.
He came here, used the Jets for leverage, and then went to Minnesota. So I understand why Jets fans think it makes sense. But organizationally, they are not there yet after 2 games.
Of course not. But if the Vikings are 2-5, I've gone over their schedule daily.
Of course.
If they are, they could easily be 2-5. They have to take the call, right? He's not going to be their quarterback next year.
No, and the thing is, like, I ruled it out because I was like, the Vikings have a chance to actually do something in the NFC this year, so you don't want to give him away on his last year when he may have a chance to win. But when you think about them, the setting up for the future, and they got a $100 million deal they got to do with Justin Jefferson at some point, right?
Vikings, right.
So the Vikings. So if you can get a young quarterback with a lot of talent, coupled with a lot of guys, you could pay a lot of guys, build this roster out. We've seen that move. But here's the thing with the Jets, man. And I come here, G, and I try to be nice to you, man.
Right.
Because listen, Kmart, I can't handle it no more. I can't handle you saying we don't know what Zach Wilson is. I don't understand it. What we know Zach Wilson to be is based on what we've seen Zach Wilson do. That ain't good. That ain't good enough to get you to where you're trying to be. Zach Wilson, we talk about this defense in New York. Let me tell you what happens to defenses, and Foxy knows this as well. The more we're on the field, the more we're exposed.
Absolutely.
I don't care how good we are and what people think we got on that side of the ball. If we get up around 65, 70 plays a game, we're going to give up 30 points. Yeah. That's just these dudes are too good in this league for you to say, we're going to come win it on defense. You just manage the game. You have to score points in this league to win.
You make a great point. What quarterback option out there you think will look good behind this offensive line, coming into this situation, having to learn the playbook on the fly with this team? Who do you think will look good?
I think Taylor Heineke attributes can help this offense move the football.
Let me just say this for 1 second about the Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins, since he's been in Minnesota, or since 2020, they've had the 29th ranked defense in the league. 29th. Okay, so that's real low. All right, so when you think about what Kirk Cousins could be for the Jets, I think it all depends on what the Jets mind. Do the Jets think they're good enough to not only go to the playoffs, but to get to the Super Bowl. Because if that's the way you're thinking, and you can buy Kirk Cousins for 1 year, it is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He will give you the best chance to go get and do this in a year. You got to trust that after this year, if you want Aaron Rodgers back, Cousins go somewhere else,
Right.
whatever that looks like.
That's the plan.
But it's a buy-in right now. We think we're good enough.
Nobody disagrees with you there. I think Kirk Cousins is the best opportunity or best option. However, you asking for the Vikings to give you the shirt off their back.
Literally.
Now, Jacoby Brissett, he's a shirt in the closet. They might be willing to give you that one because their chest still covered. You asking the Vikings right now to walk into their locker room and say, take off your shirt, we gonna play naked.
gonna play naked.
We gonna send our shirt all the way over there to them because they got a chance.
But if they're
you know what
only-
that message is to your locker room? Y'all ain't got a chance.
Y'all ain't